So here is my work in progress V2 repair. So I'm working on rebuilding my silver V2 because I recently went through all my V2 parts and realized I probably had enough to rebuild it. Because basically a while ago I had that frame is actually a bronze V2 frame for the most part. And basically what ended up happening is, to make a long story short, when I got my first two V2s, you guys might remember, I got the silver V2 and I got the bronze. And so what ended up happening is, originally I didn't actually like the bronze V2, and I had actually just got it for parts to fix the silver, since silver V2s tend to be really brittle inside, and I didn't know at the time, but outside as well. The frames turn yellow, they get super brittle, and the silver V2 was actually snapped in some parts internally, so that was great. So the bronze was the perfect purchase, because the bronze V2s tend to have a better frame, which the blue ones do too. The bronze and blues are pretty similar. So what ended up happening is I got that, and then I couldn't get the silver V2 open. So what ended up happening is I just kept the bronze V2 as bronze. But then eventually I did get the silver V2 open, but a couple of shell pieces broke, so I had to get a new set of silver shells. So Kevin sent me some, but they weren't in the best shape. I should have them loose. I would show them if I knew where the bad looking one was. I don't think it's in there, but you can see I got a bunch of V2 legs and other stuff. Oh, here it is. This was the front shell from Kevin. It's not great. That's like damage from like rubber lying on it. Probably the arm cables, since they tend to be quite destructive. But so what ended up happening is I did end up turning the bronze silver, and it became a really crappy silver V2. And it worked for a while, but my original rewire that I had done was really bad, and it started to fail. In fact, I still have remnants of it right here. I had done the old-fashioned trick of taking the original wires that were in the harnesses, the JST connectors, and splicing some new wire like right at the end and putting heat shrink just to cover the bit that was still there. And I mean, that can work, but it's really tough to do right because the heat shrink tends to shift around and then the thing gets uncovered, because right by the JST connector is really hard to heat shrink. But this time, this rebuild, I've got it right, but I'll get back to that in a second. I want to finish talking about the silver V2, bronze V2 lore. So what ends up happening is the rewire fails and the silver V2 gets scrapped out. Now, I kind of at that point started to miss the bronze V2. Since it was the first one I had working, it started to grow on me, and I actually do like the bronze color now. And so I wanted to rebuild the bronze. But I had already completely torn this frame apart, and I had actually gotten a second bronze down the line because if you guys remember, this bronze, the hand was, when I first rewired it, this hand was not moving, and I think a wire tore in the cable, but I didn't want to take apart the cable, so that was something I wasn't going to deal with. I actually don't think it was that hand. I think I mixed up. It was this hand, I'm pretty sure. So what I ended up doing is I got another bronze V2 just to steal the hand from, which is where this hand came from, this working one. So then now that thing works fine. But because I had pulled apart the original frame, and I had pulled like both of them apart basically, I didn't realize what parts I still had, and I had even sold a handful of parts to Kevin, and I just thought I didn't have like half the parts that I obviously did end up having, because I was able to rebuild this to this scale. But because of how many parts I thought I didn't have, I ended up buying a whole new V2 frame from another friend. So this actually has a frame from a white V2. Not a pearl white, but a slightly later white that had a better frame that didn't yellow as bad. And it still holds, it's still strong. The shells were a little yellowed on his white Luku, but I didn't get the white shells. I just got the frame from it. And the wires from it too, it was already rewired, so I got that. And so that's how that thing's working now. So this would be the bronze's original frame here, being reused to rebuild the silver. There's kind of something funny about that, because the silver had this frame last time it worked. But anyways, back to this silver now. So basically, yeah, so I rebuilt the frame. It's still missing a couple parts, notably a lot of internal parts, which is why there is no head on it right now. A piece that goes here, and there's a speaker here just for testing, because I needed a random speaker to test this with, because I have the right speaker in here. And to explain the front shell, this is actually the original front shell from my first silver. At first I couldn't use it because there was screws had actually broken and they were stuck in there, but I couldn't unscrew them because the heads had broken off. But I figured out a way to work around that, and now we're at the point where this is able to hold. And the back is not the original one, because I don't have the original one's back, because it shattered into a million pieces when I finally battled the thing to get it open. But this back came from Kevin, and it's kind of, yeah, it's all right. It's mostly just messed up there. But so that's what I'm going to use to put this thing back together when I can. Sorry if this is kind of rambling and you're having trouble following. Here's the wiring. So I kind of cheated a little bit. Instead of crimping new pins onto the JST connectors, I have a bunch of these headboards which have connectors on them. So what did I do? I stole the wires from those and then spliced on an extension, and this should be fine. This shouldn't cause any problems. So yeah, if you want an easy way to rewire V2, you can actually buy pre-wired JST connectors, and I think so you can just look into that and you can fix that. I think there's two types of JST connectors that the V2 uses. I think one is JST XH, and I don't remember the other one. You'd have to look. But using that, you can do that. Oh yeah, and here, these were originally they would have been the speaker plugs from the switchboards I kind of stole from some spare. I have a lot of random V2 parts. It's ridiculous that I didn't think I could rebuild this earlier. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say about it. But this rewire does work. There are batteries in here. It is functional.
Self-diagnostic initiated.
There's no neck sensor, so I gotta do this. It's gonna freeze because the arms are missing. But
Oops. What was that?
but that works. The tilt sensing works.
I think I have a bad motivator.
Oh yeah, another thing. I found replacements for these potentiometers on AliExpress. My friend Jake showed me what they were called, and I was able to find them on AliExpress. I forgot what they were called though. I have it written down though, so I was able to get replacements for these potentiometers. So if you have one of these that breaks, usually they can get a little funky with age. I've never seen it happen on a V2, but I've seen it happen on the Medias, where it'll like start is this still on? Hold on. No, now it's not, but sorry for jumping between things. That's just how I am. But yeah, so I was able to I got spares of these if I ever need. Usually they just get dirty and you just gotta clean them, but in case you have one that like fully dies, you can buy replacements. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have much else to say, so yeah.